Welcome back to the show, everybody. I just got out of a conference with LinkTo, and I got to speak to JP Teriyak and John Deaton. You're going to want to hear all of that, plus the news we got. We even got tweets from Charles Gasparino. This investigation on what's going on with the SECvsRipple and ETHgate is not over by a long shot. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today. It is December 7th, 2021, $2.363 trillion market cap, ladies and gentlemen. We're up 2.08%. Yeah, it's a late day video because I had to wait for the LinkTo Global Investor Conference, and it was phenomenal. There is so much fire that I'm going to bring you from that, but not in all one video because it's so much. It would be over probably 40 minutes worth of stuff. So let me just go ahead and tell you what's going on here. Bitcoin right now, $50,600 and change. Ethereum, $4,200 and change. Solana coming in at 192, dipping back below 200. And Cardano slipping a little more this afternoon at $1.39. XRP is 81 cents here. Looking at the range of XRP right now, we see the range is on the low side of 81 cents, 0.8189 on the top side at 0.8516. Let's go ahead and get into the news, ladies and gentlemen. Right here from Crypto Law, citing evidence compiled on cryptolaw.us and crowdsourced by Twitter sleuths. Charles Gasparino is starting to ask the SEC more questions, everyone. And that's what listen, I said this to you guys early on. I said this to you. I said, you know, when the foundational, that opus they put out on the SEC versus Ripple, everybody was like, hey, I thought you were going to do more of this, that, and the other. And I said to everyone, they are laying the foundation to continually investigate what's going on. But you have to remember, the audience for Eleanor Teriyak, the audience for Charles Gasparino at Fox Business, a lot of them don't know the inside details that we know. And in order to get everybody level set, they wrote that opus piece just a couple weeks ago, and a week or so ago, and it was amazing. So shout out to Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Teriyak. Take a look at this, because he goes on to say just a few hours ago, earlier today, okay, this is interesting. In March 2020, SEC posted the following. The commission has also publicly recognized Ethereum and its native currency Ether. See William Hinman, Director of Division of Corporation Finance, pointing to the speech that William Hinman had gave back in 2018 when Howey met Gary Plastic, which is a test, just like the Howey test. He goes on to say in the second post here, June 14, 2018, available at SEC, not only will Gary Gensler not comment on Ethereum's future, but an SEC lawyer appears to suggest that there is a rethink on ETH as well. Calls are out. I'm telling you, this is not over by a long shot. Look, Charles Gasparino is a killer investigator and journalist, and so is Eleanor Teriyak and everyone else that's involved here. And they see a lot more than you think they see. And they are not going to stop until we get the answers we need. I can feel it, because that investigative journalist aspect of what they do is just eating away at this, because they know that the SEC, the Ethereum co-founders, they do not have the truth on their side. And taking a look here, that's where we were today, was in the LinkTo conference, and I got to speak to JP Teriyak from Uphold, which you're going to hear from in just a moment, as well as John Deaton, who laid straight fire down for us today. And so many others were in there. What a great conference. I'm telling you, if you're not a LinkTo member, you don't have to be accredited to be a member and to get many, many different benefits from that platform. They have all kinds of data points and analytics that you can get with collaborative effort with CB Insights. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, make yourself a member, even if you're not accredited. And if you are accredited, you better not mess around, because this is what they're offering right now. If you use your Uphold wallet or make an Uphold wallet and use your XRP to buy private equity, they're going to give you $1,000 worth of XRP for doing it back into your wallet. And if you buy Ripple, they're going to give you $1,500 worth of XRP back into your wallet. And all of this is done not only to celebrate you being a member and using the Uphold wallet to purchase private equity from LinkTo, but in support of the idea that XRP is not a security. That's the kind of people and that's the kind of company that LinkTo is. Take a look right here, because you know what? The digital age isn't going away. And you know who knows it? Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt joins Chainlink Labs as advisor. You know, there is a saying that if you want to be successful, one of the things you need to do is to put yourself in front of growth. And if we look at the different industries that are taking off in the world, it's AI, it's robotics, it is blockchain and crypto technology, right? And the private equity tech firms behind them. That is where you put yourself. And this gentleman understands that too. Let's take a look at the next piece, which is this. Just in, India will jail citizens for using crypto as payment tool. Uh-oh, where'd you hear that before? I said this 2 years ago on this channel. If governments want to, they can tell you, listen, if we catch you using crypto or accepting crypto at a restaurant for a haircut or a pair of sneakers, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a fine or a jailable offense. If that's what they decide to do, then that's what's going to happen. And it looks to a degree here, India is on their way to doing just that. And this is all to encourage the on and off ramp being the central bank digital currencies or a private stablecoin that is in compliance with government standards to be offered as that on and off ramp before you head into the digital world in order to remain in control and relevant and in power as we move into this digital age. This right here, the United States and European allies are weighing sanctions against targeting Russia's biggest banks and country's ability to convert rubles for dollars and other foreign currencies should President Vladimir Putin invade Ukraine. Well, looky here. It's more talk. The West could cut Russia from SWIFT. Sanction Nord Stream, Latvia says. You know, who's positioned here to be successful in the digital blockchain technology world? It's the enterprise-facing company or organization RippleNet, right? That's what we're talking about. This is where the world is going, and you have to wonder if these conflicts that are happening outside of the industry we're invested in and following will become catalyst for this new digital age to emerge, and I think it may. This is more of what we talked about before, but I don't need to talk about it again. But this is where I went into the post by Charles Gasparino. But I also wanted to show you this before I play you clips from LinkTo, which are fire. You're going to hear from John Deaton, JP Teriyak, and you're going to want every bit of it here. And I tell you, and I'm going to give you so much more over the next day or so, you're not going to believe it. Dark Defender says XRP touched lower Fibonacci levels and ready to move. He says, I trust her that she will start to move towards 141, 264 within 3 weeks if she can stay above 85 cents. But if not, we should consider 65-cent double tap. Oh, I triple dog dare you to get down to 65 cents because I'll wait till Mrs. Backup isn't home and then I will absolutely buy some more. Now let me cue up this for you. I want you to hear these clips from JP Teriyak and John Deaton, and you're going to want to hear them too. Hang tight. Okay, first up, I've got JP Teriyak, and you're not going to believe what he says. Remember a couple months ago, JP was on either a Lunch and Learn or a Global Investor Conference, and he was telling us that there was a merger acquisition type thing that was happening, and it could involve a company with 100 million user base. Well, I asked him about that today, and you're going to want to pay very close attention to what he tells us. Listen to this. Yeah, I'd like to ask JP a question if he's still with us.
Yeah, and I've got to roll, guys, but go for JP. He's sitting there.
Good to see you, Greg.
Thank you so much.
JP's next on deck. Yeah, there we go. JP, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Great to see you. A few months ago, I wanted to ask you, there was a lot of, you were really excited to say that there was, the potential for either an IPO, a merger, or an acquisition for Uphold with an entity that had like 100 million user base as an example you were giving. Can you comment at all on that? And if you're able to comment on it, why it hasn't happened or been announced? Does regulation or the lack thereof have anything to do with that?
No.
Okay.
And if it was a few weeks ago, the good news is that there's more than one thing that meets that description.
Whoa, more than one thing that meets that description. JP Teriyak's been hard at work over there at Uphold. Keep listening.
There's a business development deal that we've inked and haven't announced with a company that has exactly that number of pre-COVID annual customers, but it's not a financing corp dev deal. It's a business development deal, a really interesting one, and I think relevant to the advancement of the space. It also describes a potential financing corporate development deal with a very different company. And I guess what I'd tell you there is we're in weekly discussions, and it's with CEOs and chairmen and the like, and it's a negotiation. We got an offer maybe 2 months ago. We turned it down. But conversations ongoing. So we might have news there shortly. I think we've got a lot of options, and we're not in a big hurry. We're super profitable, so piling on cash, which means we have the luxury of taking our time. With the caveat that I don't think these market conditions are going to necessarily go on forever uninterrupted. But I hope that's a helpful answer.
Oh, absolutely. And very excited for everything you guys are doing there. No doubt about it. Now, if they will allow me, I'd love to ask one more question of John Deaton, if I could. Am I able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
please.
Great. So, John, you had a great tweet this morning about the possible outcome of the Ripple SEC case. I mean, that was just a possible outcome. What I'm interested in today, and nobody's going to call you up if it doesn't happen, but if you had to today say what you think shakes out with the SEC versus Ripple case, what do the tea leaves say to you?
Well, a lot depends on those motions. As Greg was saying about this jurisdictional grab, to me, it's all about politics with Gary Gensler and the SEC and what they potentially could lose. And if the judge denies the motion to strike, that simply means that Ripple can, in fact, argue a lack of fair notice in the substantive part of the case, in the trial. I expect that result. I expect the judge to say Ripple can argue it, but she's not making a comment on whether Ripple will be successful in that argument. But that's a very important motion. The second important motion is the Judge Netburn stated that the Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP documents were relevant to both the Howey analysis as well as the fair notice defense. So if she orders that those documents have to be produced and she pierces the privilege issue and orders it to be produced to Ripple. Remember, one of those documents is a June 13th, 2018 assessment of XRP. And you can rest assured that if that assessment stated XRP is definitely a security, they'd have turned it over voluntarily to Ripple. right? So it probably says it's inconclusive. It doesn't meet, this factor or that factor, and they don't want to turn it over.
You hear what he just said? Out of those documents that have been submitted for in-camera review, he makes an excellent observation here. If that document was in favor of SEC's argument, they would not be holding it back. God bless John Deaton.
If the judge orders that those documents have to be turned over, and the SEC is then looking at a loss on fair notice, that's going to affect every other cryptocurrency on the market that's been on the market for years. And that's a lot to lose. That sort of jurisdictional grab that Greg Kidd was talking about, you lose it. And so with that on the line, I could see them going to Ripple and saying, agree that these sales to whoever in 2013 to 2015, when the ecosystem was, not as developed, were sales of investment contracts with Ripple, and pay X amount of dollars. And we can now use, Greg was talking about an event, we could use what recently happened with the ledger to show that there was an issue with the XRP ledger and independent developers fixed it, not Ripple. And therefore, a declaration that ongoing sales and future sales of XRP are not a security. I think that's when it's right. If the judge strikes fair notice, then the SEC is in a big driving seat at that point. If the judge says that privilege is protected and none of these documents, the SEC is in a much more driver's seat position. So a lot depends on those rulings, and we may get those rulings before the end of the year. So if both of those rulings go in Ripple's favor, I would think that the settlement is ripe within the next 90 days from that decision. If they go against Ripple, I'm afraid we're looking at a potential trial. That's how I handicap it.
Well, and no greater time to have trouble with the ledger when the CTO of Ripple, David Schwartz, is in Antarctica, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Appreciate you guys and all your replies. Appreciate it. Great to see everyone. There you have it. And it really does make a good point to the decentralization argument of the XRP ledger, for which a lot of us already understand that it is. But for the sake of the court case, all of the issues that it has had of late, we see that there is independent people and XRP Labs team and We Say When members working on this, and not Ripple making the fix. And in fact, that's why we see, I don't believe it's pre-planned or anything, but I mean, I think it's, really, it works out in a beautiful way that David Schwartz just happens to be on a trip in Antarctica at the time that this would happen. Now, to the other point about the potential of these decisions going the way of Ripple, that we could potentially see a settlement within the next 90 days. Now, how about that one? We're not going to hold his feet to the fire, but I tell you, I love that kind of optimism, and I certainly appreciate that kind of legal insight, no doubt about it. And, a big shout out to JP Teriyak from Uphold. It sounds like they're doing massive things. You're talking about multiple platforms with 100 million user base, and he's not even talking about it because it's all being worked out right now. What does that look like? Don't forget, you can get Uphold on LinkTo. Don't forget, you can get Ripple on LinkTo and all the other stuff that you get. And LinkTo itself, right? And Kraken when it's available. These things are amazing. And if you do it now and you do it through an Uphold wallet, you can get $1,000 back or even $1,500 worth of XRP in your wallet if you buy a private equity stock or Ripple itself. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. There are big things coming, and I think there's going to be legislation over this next year, because don't forget that the OCC is given a green light for the federally chartered banks to dabble in crypto and private stable coins and custody, and even have a node on blockchain networks. And if that doesn't tell you that big things are coming, I just don't know what is. I will catch all of you on the next one.